When you think about video games of the horror genre or survival horror, what's the first game that comes to your mind? Resident Evil? Silent Hill? Siren Blood Curse? Well, the first one that goes back to my mind goes back quite a long way. The first one that comes to my mind is a game called Alien Trilogy. Alien Trilogy is a PlayStation game which was also released for the SEGA Saturn and MS-DOS. Developed by Probe Entertainment and Sculptured Software, it was published and released by Acclaim Entertainment in 1996 for the PlayStation 1. It makes you ask a few interesting questions. For example, what makes you feel that way? Why is it that it's so good? I honestly couldn't say. I grew up playing PlayStation games from a very early age. I was 6-year-old when I played this game, which is literally a third of the required age that I needed to be to play this game. But I picked up on these things early, and I think maybe because I was so young, it scared me, or at least I think it's a sprite game. I couldn't honestly be too sure. It seems as if it is. I mean, I know it's a 3D game, but you've got to look at the graphical elements, you've got to think about it. Those textures don't seem 3D to me. It doesn't seem as if they're all 3D models. There might be a combination of sprites and 3D models. Who knows? I couldn't say. I did try to find more information out about this game, but I honestly couldn't. It's a bit of a phantom case in some respects. Probe Entertainment was liquidised, I believe, but eventually became a part of Acclaim Entertainment, wholly owned. There isn't very much information about Probe as a company before those events. You might also know them for a very fun title they created, Die Hard Trilogy, which was also out on the PlayStation. I do remember reading in a retro gamer magazine that I once bought that the team who developed Alien Trilogy were known as the team that knew what they were doing. Both games were developed side by side, although the Die Hard team might not have been, I don't know, as adept as creating games. It's something I'd have to try and look into, but to be honest, the information just isn't there. I really don't think people were as interested in the development of games as they are now, as they were back then, especially with the level of complexity involved when you're looking at 2D sprite systems. The PlayStation was sort of the beginning of games becoming into the 3D spectrum. Not the 3D you're talking about now, like the 3DS and 3D TVs, but just as the idea that the game just wasn't a cartoony looking thing, 2D sprites with one form of movement or a top-down form of movement. It was a case of you were immersed into the actual world of the game for a change, and I think that's one of the reasons why this game appealed to me so much. Alien Trilogy has some fantastic elements that make the atmosphere just absolutely perfect. They don't stick to the entire story. It shows Ripley land on the planet with Bishop and the team of Marines. The team of Marines is quickly dispatched by the aliens, as we all know. Although the game follows the route that after the first set of levels, if you will, the first third of the game, where it's in a sort of aliens kind of place where you'd expect to see the Marines barricaded, you end up in the prison. And as any Alien fan would know, the prison came much later on after the events of the second Alien movie, and then after that you end up in some sort of Alien Resurrection style ship, in the particulars that you've got all the different, well, just think of the Queen's Lair from Alien Resurrection. That's the kind of thing you're looking at. Maybe if you're watching the video, it'll explain it a little better than I could. So the atmosphere was definitely there. For a game to movie adaptation, I'd say that Alien Trilogy and Die Hard Trilogy are probably the most faithful video game to movie adaptations that I've seen. Probably Alien a little bit less because there've been ones before it, but this one definitely had everything that made the movies great. You didn't really have a full arsenal of weapons. You'd had everything that appeared in the franchise: the pistol, shotgun, pulse rifle, smart gun, flamethrower, seismic mines, grenades, pretty sure that was it. There were no unlockable weapons or anything like that. Plenty of secret passways and different things you could find throughout the game that reference the movies, but what this game really proved is that graphics don't make a game. There's more things to a game than just graphics. A lot of people always these days will look at a game and say the graphics are poor, I'm not playing it. And at the end of the day, I guess it's probably their fault they're missing out on a great product. I couldn't really fault this game. Even today, I can stick it in my PlayStation 3 and play it and have hours of fun. The graphics don't bother me, the gameplay's great, it works. I couldn't see why people would deter from playing it simply because of the graphics. But each to their own, I suppose. You can't expect everyone to like everything. I find one of the things I like about this game the most is the music. The music's done by a composer called Stephen Root, if that's how you pronounce his first name. Currently working at Codemasters. I've contacted him a few times. I've had no response whatsoever, so unless he's politely telling me to fuck off or, I don't know, telling me to stop being such a nosy bastard, I honestly couldn't tell. I'd hope to hear back from him and learn more about this game, the development of it, but that's probably not going to happen. Probably. But he did all the music for this game, and I've got to say, the music is absolutely fantastic, atmospheric. You can hear the alien cries inside some of the songs. It's really, really tense, if you will. It's sort of techno music, but with that sort of gothic, sort of symphonic feel to it. It's interesting how he's combined all the elements to make, well, the soundtrack. Although there's actually only 12 songs within the entire game, which is unsurprising because it was a PlayStation release game. Not so sure about the SEGA Saturn. You wouldn't really expect an overabundance of content, but the music's definitely something that made it for me. No matter what games you look at now, Resident Evil doesn't really have scary music. Silent Hill bridges it, but honestly, it didn't have the impact that these games felt like they had on the PlayStation 1. Survival horror is just dying out as a franchise. Resident Evil's gone more action-based. Silent Hill's probably trying to keep to the horror genre. I've looked at the new game by Vatra Games. I honestly don't know where they plan on taking that franchise, so I'd definitely say that this game stays upon my number one for what I would think of when I think of horror games. And it deserves to be there. Well, at least that's what I think. Well, there's my 2 cents for you. If you have any questions, come to the website. If you've got any questions about the game, I might be able to answer them for you. If you're looking for information or where you can get a copy, just go to eBay. Like I say to most people, PlayStation 1 games don't retail new anymore. It's all second hand. You'd have to go to a retro gamer shop, but eBay is probably your best source. Thanks for listening. I hope you stay tuned and view some of the more retro thoughts and reviews we have coming in future.